Vincenzo's Go Crypto Investing this May the 6th, 2025 nightly cryptocurrency blockchain technology video here for the channel that's built on truth, trust, education, and information, and is specifically made for you, the retail trader. Hit that subscribe button, comment, like the channel, and share it to help spread the truth and the message that we're trying to get out. And we're going to start this video. It's a late update with ALGO. We still do not want to buy you. You will not force or capitulate us into paying to get ad-free. You can see ALGO. You can see what's going on in all these coins right now, what we were talking about earlier. Let's move these moving averages. You can see the 50 starting to trend down. The 100 and the 200 are all starting to trend down now. But they're all going back to major areas that are support levels that are attempting to be flipped. And most of these coins look like this, where they're trending down and they broke through significantly from a major support level like ALGO did right there at that 19.5, 20 cent level, right? It came back below it. And then it came back to retest it and overshot it, got rejected in this case by the 200-day moving average in the daily time frame, or you could look at it at the second area of resistance and confluence, why we thought it would get rejected there. The bottom part of that red support and resistance box right there, that goes from about 22 cents to about 35.5, 36 cents, right? And now look where you're going back down to, and this is what all these coins are doing. They're coming back to the major area that it's trying to figure out if it's going to continue to be major support or if it's going to flip the resistance. And we dropped right back down to it at 19.5, 20 cents, this red line. And eventually you're going to figure out whether you bounce up in here first or you trade right along it. If you slip below it and can't hold this, you're going to confirm it as resistance, and you're going to have a big fall to the downside. And that's what would get you over the next few weeks down here to this 10 cent level, right? And we even drew this out beautifully. Look at this. And it actually did it beautifully. When we were back here in this red trading box, we drew it down here to this 18.5, 19 cents, and then the classic hook nose bearish reversal pattern, right? See that? Where it comes all the way back up. It attempted to do it at the beginning. Remember when we were following it right here? And then it got rejected and made the fake flush down, or the first breakdown. And look, and then it did eventually come back up to it, and it did the same thing that we drew out back a couple of months ago, and came all the way back up to that red resistance box, got rejected. Now it's back on the 20 cent level. And if it fulfills what we think it's going to do, we gave you that first mover advantage and the power and the value, and it pays for itself with the $3.99 members of Jabroni Killer. And the reason to be a member of this channel, because in that blue right here that we drew that back here, right? That's when we drew this right here. We drew that back when the price was still up there at 30, 40 cents, or about the 40 cent level, right? Breaking down, coming back to the top part of the red trading box up here. That's when we gave you the first mover advantage. And it's actually very interesting to see that the price has actually done that. So if you slip back below and you actually confirm this 20 cents as resistance and a flip, you're going to come down to that 10 cent level. Come here. You're going to come down to the 10 cent level, right? Come here. So that's what we're looking at. The program director is, of course, getting chatty because he hears me talking and I'm not talking to him. If we look at, here's one, VELO, right? The VELO we gave you again in one of the commenters, and this is actually aged to where it actually is pretty interesting. He wrote back when the Jabroni Killer member asked me to talk about the VELO. Back here when we put this coin on, we were sitting up here just breaking north of this major upper resistance and what I identified as the rising wedge, right? And technical targets on a bearish breakdown are down there at 0.002429, or the bottom part of the wedge, right? And we identified this and went over what a rising wedge is. It's a uptrending wedge where it's wider at the beginning and then it tightens up and it's uptrending to a duck's beak at the very end where the pattern has to break out of. And you can see we have upper resistance, upper resistance, upper resistance, lower support, 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 support. And this wedge has been going on since 2023, the end of 2022, right? So several years now. And we identified that, and it's a bullish continuation pattern, but they're bearish reversal patterns when the pattern completes itself, because they're usually a technical bearish. They break down 6.5 to 7 times out of 10 bearishness. And we were way up here. No, still don't want to buy you. Get out of there. Don't want to try you. And we made the video and we said that these are bearish and we're likely to get rejected there. And if we did, we would come down here to retest the major upper resistance, the uptrending lower support. And the dude said that you are the only one in the crypto bearish because it was towards the end of the peak of the Donald and Trump induced hyper rally, right? And I said, well, that's because I'm giving you the first mover advantage in my opinion, and I'm not bandwagoning, hype training anything. I'm just looking at the chart and the technicals, the news and the coin and the sentiment and what I'm seeing and letting you know what are possible scenarios. And we did come all the way back down quickly over the next 2 months from this failed breakout of the rising wedge all the way down. And it was over a couple of weeks, about 4-week span, 5-week span, and went down 61%. Then we actually broke down out of it. And now we're trying to come back up into it. And we got up above the 50-day moving average, but we got rejected by the 100-day there at about 0.015 cents. But there is a way to where you could come back up and retest this rising wedge on a pretty ferocious rally back up to 0.0198 cents if you can fight over the moving averages, right? That is possible. If not, you're going to continue to trade side and to down, and you would start retesting this area, which you can see why you got a bounce here. It was a major support level back here, right? But then the wedge was trading up and sideways, so that same area of support now in the future is to the side of you, right? But if you break down from there, your next major area of support would be down here at about the 0.007159. That's where you would look to get some support, because you got support right here on the uptrending support, and you also had some brief support in that consolidation back there in 2023, right? So that's what we're looking at in the VELO. And the DIX, the DIA, another one that we gave you first mover advantage, identified this head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern back when a Jabroni Killer member brought this to our attention back into this area, right? And we put down what this was. Our technical target was 38 cents. You can see we hit that. Actually came all the way down to this 25 cents that we had there. And recently had a ferocious rally from the 26 cents all the way up to the 70 cents, which is the old neckline of the head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern, and a major upper resistance level in this box right here that starts this orange resistance box. And you can see, what do we have? Orange. You can see this orange resistance box up there, and you can see it got rejected beautifully by it. And that's something that we would expect by that being that orange resistance box right there. And now we're sitting on the 50, what is that? The 50 cent level, which is the top part of this red trading area. You would look for that to give you some brief support. It did actually dip below it all the way down to the 100-day moving average in the daily time frame. You would look for at least some kind of brief support here, maybe a brief bounce would be a classic to be expected. But if you can't do that and there is no brief bounce, this thing will slip all the way back down here to the bottom part of this red trading zone down there at about, what is that? I don't have a marker. We're going to put a marker down there. Oops. I love when they finally figured out that, to put that there on the mobile app. Clone. If you can't get some brief support there, you would fall all the way back down to the 38 cent level, right? So that's what we're watching out for in the DIA. And that was a very good call by us back then when we did that for you guys and kept you on the first mover advantage. The same way as we gave you the first mover advantage by, you can watch any of the videos. We're not going to recap at the head and shoulders topping out reversal pattern. We let you know where you were going here the last couple of days with this pump that was coming up and sideways that we would eventually break down, have to come retest the $2 and 9-cent neckline. I don't know why we've never had a price there on the neckline. We've just always had the because the moving averages have been so close there. But we're going to finally put a price there on the neckline. Change that. That's more of a purplish color, something like that. The $2.09. We wicked down to it. We bounced off it beautifully in the daily. Right now, we're just above the neckline and just below the 50 and 100-day moving averages right there, respectively, above it. So that's where you're trading right now. You're being squeezed as you're grasping and clawing and trying for desperate, holding all ends to stay above that major neckline and continue to have it as major support. As you can see, just like one of the other coins that we looked at to start with, this has been major support with the neckline, and we talked about it at noon. All the way back here on the pump up in November, December, then on the way back down with the neckline for the last 2.5 to 3 months, ever since mid to late January, 4 months. It's been major support on the neckline, and you've been scratching and crawling since the first time since you broke down below the neckline with some fortitude and some volume and price action. You're trying to hold it now as support and not flip it to major resistance, right? Because I'd be very bearish. If you flipped it to major resistance, you would immediately drop down to the 200-day moving average. Then you would trade sideways for a few days, and before you know it, you'd be back down here at the double bottom of $1.60 to $1.61 wick low, right? So that's what we're watching in some of these coins this evening. Comment down below, become members of the channel, help spread the word of truth, trust, education, and information. Peace and love. The Rex Eyebrow, J 43 degrees.